When I first started drawing the current version of my comic, Paged Away, it was in 2020, and Webtoon was king. With lockdown, I really felt like I had enough time to work on my comic, and I started watching a lot of comic YouTubers, especially webcomic ones. At the time, Webtoon felt to me more massive than it is now, and I had a lot of thoughts about the format. Page or scroll? A lot of Webtoons YouTubers I watched at the time gave advice. Your first comic will be shit. Your first comic won't be your best one. You won't print your first comic. Readers prefer scroll. You'll get more readers with scroll. Your Webtoon won't succeed with page format. You won't become an original with a page format Webtoon. Most readers are mobile users. I'm not saying that all this advice is rubbish or bad. Actually, the last one is very useful in my opinion. But because I heard this advice a lot from different channels, I thought, okay, I'll try the scroll format thing. It was quite daunting at first, and I did many studies of different scroll format comics I liked. I even planned to make a whole advice video for scroll format comics. Let me know if you are still interested in that though. And yeah, I eventually got the hang of scroll format, and I do like the format, especially with the opportunities of using the verticality to show time passing and downwards movement. It's very fluid. I also love the long sweeping vertical panels, but it is rather limited in the horizontal aspect. You don't get to have those nice big double page spreads that traditional print format does. And the two formats have pros and cons to them. And at the time I was really interested in the prospect of my comic becoming a Webtoon original. This is where Webtoons contracts you to make your comic. I had this really big dream of becoming a Webtoon original creator, making it big and working on my passion full time. This was another reason why I drew my comic in scroll format. A lot of the Webtoon YouTubers I was watching at the time were making comics that they aimed to become originals and were trying to get Webtoon to notice them by pushing themselves to write longer episodes, post more frequently, and many of them ended up burning out, and even quitting comics altogether. There was this really toxic hustle culture about that time, with episode lengths and how frequently you posted your comic. I used to be quite active in some Webtoon Canvas creator servers, and a common worry by some was that they wouldn't get noticed by Webtoon because they posted every 2 weeks or drew in black and white, or they didn't have enough panels. It didn't help that some readers were also quite toxic about this as well, complaining about how short episodes were and how lazy artists were for using 3D models or drawing in black and white. Luckily, I didn't get any of these comments on my comic, but some of my friends did. I had this really rose-tinted idea of what it would be like to be an originals creator. That bubble quickly popped when I read about creators talking about their experiences and hearing things about the contracts I just didn't vibe with, like the pay, the amount of panels you had to make per episode, as well as the frequency, and also Webtoon acquiring your IP. At the time, 40 panels a week was the average for Webtoon originals. But as I continued to work on Paged Away, it hit me. Isn't this ironic? The comic is literally called Paged Away and is not in page format. My comic is about a magic book and heavily features books in the plot and motifs, and it's not in page format. I also wanted to print it, but I felt stuck. By then, most of the Webtoons YouTubers I watched and looked up to either got burnt out, moved on to another hustle, or fell off the face of the internet. So I felt kind of stuck in a way. But seeing my comic in scroll format just reminded me of the rose-tinted glasses I wore about Webtoon, and I decided to convert it. I was told that converting my Webtoon into print was impossible, but that it would be an awkward adaptation. I saw Lore Olympus in my local bookshop, and I flicked through it, curious about how they adapted it. And I was thoroughly disappointed about how they adapted it, and in a way, I felt kind of incensed to make my comic adaptation better. That's when I thought, frick it, I'll start adapting my comic. It was daunting as well, drawing in page format at first. I reread Making Comics by Scott McCloud. I read Framed Ink by Mateu Mestre, and I studied many comics and manga I loved. Then it started to get easier as I worked on the page version of my comic. I had to redraw some panels, but it's been worth it. I felt rather proud of myself just seeing my comic in my hands. Being able to show it to others IRL and sell it at conventions and comic events has been great too. I've made the decision to continue my comic in page format as well. I'm currently converting all the pages so far, and as of writing, I'm up to about episode 16. I've already thumbnailed everything, it's just doing the proper converting. As for archiving, I'm thinking about leaving my Webtoon up in scroll format and posting newer pages in the page format. As for my Tapas and Comic Theory, I'll replace all the old episodes with the converted pages, as well as posting the new pages. Is anyone else in the same boat as me? Do you have a comic? Or have you changed your comic format? Comment below and, we'll chat and stuff. But thanks for watching. Bye.